All right.
Did you listen to last week's, by the way, where I put some of this preamble of like us being serious podcasters in before the intro?
How do you do this?
Okay, are you finally ready?
I'm going.
We are 40 minutes late to this.
Boom.
4-0. Tim, we need to change things up. It's getting stale. It's getting boring.
Well, I think based on the success of last week, it looks cool.
It looks good.
But describing it sucks.
Yeah. Were you cheating? Yes or no? Please just answer the question. When we had the best car.
We get them in this room all the time. There's just so much to talk about.
There's just always so much to talk about, yeah. I don't...
11th. Haha. I was right.
That's sad.
Yeah. You should have a normal hat and a speculation hat. You can only wear the speculation hat on rare occasions.
On rare occasions, yeah. It's time for our first ever Ahead of the Apex feature. Don't hit each other. That's it.
Oh my God.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ahead at the Apex. You are joined today by me, Josh, and Tim is joining me in the studio once again. He was 40 minutes late this morning, but he is here.
Deplorably late,
and he
as
is
usual.
Ready to go, aren't you, Tim?
Raring.
You're excited?
Raring, yes.
I proposed a new format to you this week, didn't I?
Yeah.
I said, Tim, we need to change things up. It's getting stale. It's getting boring.
Well, I think based on the success of last week,
where we had WEC, standalone.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, more casual chat, more topic based, and then we've decided this week that we are going to talk about MotoGP and Formula One. So bundle them together because that's the Liberty Media banner, and then and then we keep WEC separate because there's fewer of them and way more to talk about. Is that fair?
Yeah, and we found that just naturally in the recording sessions, we just don't end up ever kind of having the time to go into it properly.
Yeah, to do all three would be nearly impossible.
Yeah. So it makes sense to clip them.
This week there will be hopefully some fan interaction. I'm hoping that we can get some fan interaction on this week's episode. So if you're listening and you're not following, what is our Instagram, Tim?
AAT Apex.
Nice. At AAT Apex.
Yeah.
Ahead at the Apex, but
just first letters of the first three and then Apex.
Our head of social media, Tim, decided on that and never thought we'd have to say it out loud.
Yeah. It looks cool.
It looks good.
But describing it sucks.
Yeah. And as always, the stories that we will talk about today will be available at blog.aheadattheapex.com. So that's the little social media bit out of the way.
Yeah.
Typically there'll be a swipe here, like some sort of
whoosh.
Well, the noise.
Yeah.
The little yeah, that noise.
The jingle.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk about MotoGP because why not start somewhere? And we're going to start with Marc Marquez, who announced yesterday that he will not return to the MotoGP grid in 2025, not even for testing. So he's missed, crikey, where were they last week? Australia. He missed Australia, and he'll miss Malaysia this week, and then he'll miss Portugal and Valencia as the last two rounds, and he will also be absent from the Valencia test at the end of the season, which is quite important because that means Marc's teammate Pecco will have his chance to dictate the testing regime
and the direction of the package moving forward.
And he's clearly not happy with the way things are going right now because he's finishing last with his stand-in test rider just behind him in pretty much everything.
Yeah, he's just been so up and down the whole year.
Yeah.
And there was that period at the beginning where we said, okay, something's off. Maybe it's the transition between the 24, the 25, whatever. Then, for absolutely no reason, decided to start showing up. Had a few great performances, strong results.
Then it dipped again.
And that just keeps going down.
And then there was Japan.
Japan was a jump.
Pole, sprint win, Grand Prix win.
Again, out of nowhere.
Out of complete nowhere. Then there was rumors that actually he was riding for Digi Antonio's bike for Japan. So there was accusations that Ducati was somehow cheating when they've just dominated the season.
Yeah.
Oh, let's cheat so that we can have Pecco
which is
on the
so
best
funny. Which is so funny because that's basically like everyone saying, I know you've just won the whole year and crushed it, but Pecco performing is a bit weird to me.
It's a bit weird.
I think something's going on there. We need to check this out.
You got a 1-2 in Japan, which is a track that should suit your bike, but
but it's Pecco in front.
Was Pecco, so maybe
something's wrong here.
Were you cheating? Yes or no? Please just answer the question.
Which is, in a way, I don't know if people necessarily did that. Obviously, we're being satirical. But in the case that was even a fraction of the motivation.
People in the paddock, maybe not, but there was definitely articles going, are Ducati running Digi Antonio's bike for Pecco?
Which is just kind of disrespectful for a world champion to just be like, hang on, he's actually not terrible.
He's actually not bad. Maybe at a track he's won before.
Maybe he's cheating completely. Just so out of nowhere.
But it's not cheating because even if it were that bike, right? Even if it were the GP24 is a legal bike in this season because Digi Antonio is running it and Alex is running it and Aldeguer is running it. Like the bike is on track. It's a perfectly legitimate thing, right? It's not like saying, well, he's actually running a bike from World Superbikes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's running a homologated MotoGP bike from this season. Anyway, that's speculation.
That's just funny. Yeah, when we don't speculate. We don't speculate.
But what I did want to talk about, and I kind of briefly mentioned it last time, is that I did actually get my dream.
Yeah.
One of my check
boxes
for motorsport wishes this year, which was that Marc would win in Japan. The title, that is. He won his 7th MotoGP title to equal Rossi. He did it in Japan and he did it in a very unspectacular way. It was just a second place. There was no charge through the field. There was no dominant start light to flag sort of victory. It was just a very consistent race, quite uneventful. His celebration was even quite uneventful. The whole watching his montage thing on the TV. He did then go and give all the Honda guys a hug, which was another one of my
you went 2
wishes.
for 2
I was 2 for 2, which was great. And then this whole slogan thing. So we're a little bit behind on this because last time we recorded a MotoGP episode was just before this happened. So he promoted his new thing, which is more than a number. And just to give some of those numbers. 2,184 days.
It's more than a number, but we're going to tell you all the numbers anyway.
Since his last title. 30 races missed, 108 crashes, 4 arm surgeries, diplopia, which is double vision, twice. Metacarpal fracture, arm pump surgery. He nearly gave up. He turned up and said, I'm done. Like
my body cannot hold
what am I doing?
This together for
and
longer.
Then Alex brought him in
longer.
at Gresini, which gave him his first victory back last year.
Yeah. And from then he was just inject that into my veins, please.
And then that secured him the factory ride, and then the rest we have commented on basically every single time we've talked about MotoGP, we've said Marc Marquez's name. He's the first rider in history to win it after a 5-year drought, which is fairly impressive. He's being compared to Rossi, which I think is a fair comparison. Rossi did it in fewer races, but there were fewer races per season. Rossi did it with a slightly higher win rate. There were less competitive riders, which I think that's fair. Marc has won his title against Rossi.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like saying, oh, well, Lewis had a more dominant time than Verstappen, but Verstappen has done it against Lewis.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yep.
And people say, oh, well, Alonso has never won that many titles. Right? But Alonso was racing against Schumacher.
Yeah.
Right? So Schumacher was racing earlier against Jos Verstappen and Jacques Villeneuve and drivers like that. Whereas Alonso was racing against Schumacher, Hamilton against Vettel. So it's a different thing to compare, and it's always difficult to compare. But just 1 week after he takes all of those records, all of those achievements, Marco Bezzecchi just rides into the side of him at nearly 200 miles an hour and launches him across a raised gravel area. And he's basically fractured his collarbone. Ducati are a little bit inconsistent in reporting this, and torn some ligaments, and he's had to undergo major surgery once again on his right arm, which is the same arm that he's had all these other surgeries on before. Jesus. And then that's it. That's it for the season. He's very maturely
probably
decided that's
best.
it.
The inverse Niki Lauda.
Yes.
Very sensible.
So he's
I guess he
targeting
doesn't need
26.
to, which is nice.
Exactly.
If he came back and he needed one more race to win the title.
Exactly. I actually think it would have been quite funny, not funny, spectacular if he hadn't won it in Japan and he could have won it in Indonesia and then still
crashed.
had this crash.
Yeah.
But because Alex has been so inconsistent in both Indonesia and Australia that he just won it in Australia because Alex didn't score enough points and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
I think that would have been
that would have been kind of cool.
Very underwhelming for Mark, but kind of cool.
Yeah.
In absence of Mark, we've had some newbies to the forefront, which is quite, I don't know, interesting, I guess. I kind of expected the way this season's gone, Mark's not here, so Bez is going to win, or Alex is going to win, or,
Alex should probably have won.
Or maybe one of the other Ducatis, right? Maybe Pecco comes back from beyond the,
when he's picked up his disguised F1 car.
But
he pulls his wet car and just disguises it like a bike.
But I mean, Indonesia, it was never going to be Bez because Bez was in the gravel trap with Mark. Instead, Fermin Aldeguer to the front, please. In what was quite a dominant victory, actually, he managed to gap 7 seconds to Pedro Acosta, which is no easy feat, and just head down pulled the victory out. I mean, we kind of saw this in Austria, which is when we watched together.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
came
think
back.
Aldeguer has had, again, an inconsistent season, but his lows have not been so low. I think he's been relatively good, and then he's had some great performances.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this is his first ever season.
Which is crazy.
It's insane.
I think for a rookie year, he has been brilliant.
Yeah. He's obviously been given the Lewis Hamilton treatment in the sense that he's jumped on the GP24, which is perhaps the greatest motorcycle in motorcycle racing history. But nonetheless, he's had to get on it and learn it and adapt to it and ride it. And there's
not an easy thing to
when
control.
you're riding the best MotoGP bike in history, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
There is no excuse, right? There is no, the bike's not great or the bike's not.
Yeah. Sorry, the package wasn't with us today.
It's like, okay, well, what's your excuse? You're just rubbish. Is that what it is? But like you say, had a few rocky races at the start of the season. But this was just so impressive to see. It was just consistency. Didn't buckle under pressure. Acosta was a man possessed in second place, just not yielding. So to get past him, which is that KTM is a rocket ship in a straight line, so that was difficult enough, is hugely impressive. And it takes him to the second youngest MotoGP winner of all time. So just 60 days younger than Marc Marquez when Marc took his first win at 20 years and 183 days, which I think means that if he'd won in Austria, if he had overtaken Marc in Austria, he would have become the youngest of all time.
Yeah. Wild.
If I'm doing my maths correct. It's hugely impressive and good to see, but it wasn't the only new race winner we've had in the last 2 weeks, because we also then went to Phillip Island in Australia, where Bez was given a double long lap penalty
Yeah.
Despite being the quickest all weekend, was given a double long lap penalty and nearly still won the Grand Prix on Sunday with it. Dominated the sprint, and Aprilia looked the bike to beat this weekend. But there is no overcoming an 8-second penalty in modern MotoGP. No matter how good you are. Even if you are Bez on a hugely impressive Aprilia, there is no overcoming that. Especially when there's a guy in second place on the same bike as you, who's just as quick as you, and he's going for his first Grand Prix victory. So that was Raul Fernandez, who stepped up because obviously Martin is still missing for injuries, and I don't expect him back this season, quite frankly. And Ayagura had some issues with tire pressures in the sprint, and I think they because of that they changed them for the Grand Prix, so he was nowhere to be seen. So by the time Bez had served his penalties, Raul had a 1.1 second gap to Acosta, who again was riding the widest KTM in the history of MotoGP, battling with Alex, Bez, and Digia behind, which allowed Raul to just go.
Released him.
Yeah, so to take his first victory in his fourth season of MotoGP, the first for Trackhouse Aprilia, which is very impressive. They're an IndyCar team, and I've heard nothing but good things about them all week since getting this victory. It's only their second season in MotoGP.
Wow, it's like the Apex GP story.
Yeah, it's like the Apex GP story. For listeners, which is everybody, I just pointed to the hat that I'm wearing, which is a custom-made Apex GP hat, courtesy of Tim.
Yeah, what an epic
last Christmas
gift.
We're doing that again this year. We should get each other Apex merch this year for Christmas.
That's a fun idea. Or we could get some ahead of the Apex merch.
Yeah. Let's do that.
That's cool.
Let's do that. Maybe we'll make a shop.
Shop, yeah.
So Davide Brivio, head of Trackhouse, he said this year there has been criticism because at the beginning it was difficult. We were struggling to score points, which is true. And then we started to be in the top 10 regularly, also good to see. And then we tried to target the top 7. And then he jumped straight to the podium, which we expected would take more time.
It's been a really impressive development.
Yes. I mean, Raul's not a rookie, but he had a hard time at KTM. Ayagura is a rookie, and he's had a pretty good start to the season. He's fallen off towards the end. He's kind of had the opposite to Aldeguer. Yeah. But you're right. It's been a very progressive season, and as that Aprilia has got better, so have they, which is very good. I'm looking forward to next year because I have written down some hopes and dreams again. Well, not really. I've kind of written some summary points of why there's hopes and dreams for next year. So that Aprilia is looking very impressive, as we have just said.
Yeah.
With Bez and Martin back next year, that's a very exciting lineup against Marquez, who will be back on the GP26, which might be a GP24 with 4 crossed out and 6 written next to it.
Yeah. I imagine, especially if Pecco gets his way.
Gets his wishes, yeah. Gresini will be on factory spec bikes next year as well, which is cool. The last time Ducati did that, Martin beat them.
So we'll see.
So we'll see if they'll ever do that again. Honda, they've got their new engine person, and they have been consistently sort of top 8 the last few races, so that's good to see. And Yamaha as well, they've just signed Toprak, who won his 3rd World Superbike Championship last week? Yeah. Which is very cool. So he's coming across from BMW. They're doing a swap with Miguel Oliveira, who's going to BMW World Superbikes, and they have got their V4. And it seems, with Acosta riding the widest KTM in the history of MotoGP, that KTM have solved their chattering issues, and Binder's been up there. Mav, when he's back to full health, but Espargaro was very, very, very quick in Australia. So once they solve that issue, I can honestly see there being 5 or 6 different bikes in with a shot of a win come Qatar.
And I think this is the thing we've spoken about this when you get towards the latter stages of a regulation cycle.
Yeah,
is you get this natural convergence.
Yep,
and that's what normally means there's this quite competitive final few seasons in that period. Obviously, 2021 in F1 is the best example of that because Mercedes were utterly dominant through the entire thing. And it literally took the entire regulation phase for people. Well, and the FIA saying, stop inventing cool things that make you really fast to get people to compete. So yeah, it's great. And I think the fact that there's so many, you don't know where that attack is going to come from.
No, I mean, I just listed all of the manufacturers.
Basically, yeah. There's
that have all got huge
every
plans.
single person or every single team has a reason for being at the front.
Yeah.
And that's what's really exciting.
Yeah, very much so.
And testing is going to be super telling, I think.
Yeah, and hopefully we get Marc back in for at least some of the testing because
I think he will. I would be surprised if he does.
Yeah, I don't want Ducati to suffer because he's not there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, an 8th title as well on the horizon potentially.
Exactly, record breaking.
That would be kind of epic.
And at least it'd make it a fight. Like, let's have Bez in the mix and Martin in the mix. That would be cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's been a cool season and I think the comeback story's been awesome. And if you go all the way back to the first episode that we did, when we were talking about and we were comparing the Marc move to the Lewis move.
Yeah.
Marc has had a great year.
Hugely good.
And it's awesome. And I think in view of the injury, in view of the crash, in view of the recovery, it's been an awesome story. I'm very glad that it's happened. But going into next year, to see a fight for a championship would also be great because it then silences any doubts of, okay, yeah, but they had the best bike or these kind of things.
Yeah.
Which even now you still get with the likes of Lewis.
Yeah. From me.
Yeah.
Well, he had the best car.
We get them in this room all the time. So it would be really cool to see that and see people kind of go wheel to wheel a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much looking forward to it. All right, we're going to move on to F1, Tim, which is typically where we spend the bulk of our time because
there's just so much to talk
there's
about.
Just always so much to talk about. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to break it down. We're going to play some games as well.
Yes. I love games.
Maybe games is the wrong word. Anyway.
You just killed my enthusiasm.
I'm sorry.
I'm slumping back now.
The first thing that we're going to talk about is some midfield chaos because all of the focus right now seems to be on McLaren and a Dutch
and
kid.
A Dutch man.
And we'll get there. We will get there. Obviously, we're not going to skip over that. But McLaren have already wrapped up this 2025 Constructors, so that's fine. It seems Mercedes have pulled a gap in second and that it will probably end up, if Max continues the way he's going, that Red Bull finish third and Ferrari finish fourth. Done.
Yep.
However, things are getting particularly spicy for fifth place because Williams kind of have this gap because they have been the most consistent so far. But actually, if you look at it, there are 40 points between them and Racing Bulls. There's a further 3 points back to Aston Martin. There's a further 10 points back to Kick and a further 11 points back to Haas. I'm not suggesting that Haas are going to overtake Williams, but those are some pretty tight gaps. And 3 of those teams have had a podium this year, and there is no reason to suggest that Aston Martin couldn't get a podium or Haas couldn't get a podium if we have 2 McLarens running into each other, or Nico Hülkenberg gets another podium the way he's been going lately. So it's pretty...
Yeah, his qualifying's been great.
Yeah, hit the 4th in the sprint in Kota, and then was he like 6th or 7th in the main qualifying? He was in the top 10 again, right? He definitely made it through to Q3.
11th. Hang on.
You're going to check this.
Dippity tappity.
But Sainz has locked in lately and has been scoring sprint podiums and race podiums and seems to be sort of challenging the Kimi Antonellis and the Yuki Tsunodas of this world. I don't...
11th. Haha. I was right.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I thought he was top 10.
He missed out by a 10th in Q2.
I thought it might actually be fun to speculate.
Oh my God.
I know that we don't do much speculation.
I need to get my speculating hat on.
Do you?
I don't actually have a speculating hat because we never speculate on this podcast.
I'm thinking back to our earlier conversation about Ahead at the Apex merch, and I'm wondering whether we should have
speculation hat,
a speculation hat,
and a non-speculation. You should have a normal hat and a speculation hat. You can only wear the speculation hat on rare occasions.
On rare occasions, yeah. So, with that gap that Williams have and the races that are left to come. So, to remind you, we have Mexico this weekend.
Yep.
Then Brazil.
Yep.
Then Vegas.
Oh, baby. I'm excited for Vegas.
Are you?
I think I'm the only person in the world that's excited for Vegas.
All right. And then we have Qatar, and then we have Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who's going to be fifth in the World Championship? Williams?
I think
RB,
Williams.
Or Aston?
I think Williams. I think Williams' main advantage is the straight line speed.
Sure.
When you look at the next 3 tracks that are coming on, Mexico's quite high speed. Brazil's quite high speed with obviously the windy bits, but with the advantage you can pull through 3 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Normally you can defend quite easily through the windy bits.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Vegas is just 4 straights. So
I'm expecting Aston to be good in Brazil though.
Yeah,
with
I
the
agree
higher
with
downforce that they've got.
And
And
maybe
maybe is it do you, if you have higher downforce in Mexico due to the altitude, are you just naturally faster because there's less air? Is that the way it works?
Yeah.
That's
so
the way around, yeah.
The air is less dense, therefore a higher downforce setup will act more like a lower downforce setup at that circuit.
So Aston might actually be competitive this weekend.
Yeah, I think racing bulls are the ones that should be a bit nervous because Liam Lawson just loves throwing it into a wall.
Yeah.
And well, Hadjar's been great this year, but as of recently, I think we qualified 20th, or there was a problem in qualifying here, didn't he?
But Lawson's coming into the part of the calendar that he
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's now finished his rookie season and he is now into his second season of Formula One.
Yeah.
So I don't know, actually. Yeah, I think I don't see Kick and Haas.
It seems Kick
waves
at the moment can only have one car doing well.
Exactly. What I was about to say.
Because Gabby was last fighting the Alpines.
Either Hulk has a hero race or Gabby has a hero race, but the other person is undoubtedly in 17th.
Yeah.
No matter what happens.
Fighting Colapinto and Gasly. Who I've seen a lot of criticism actually for, just to mention this, because Colapinto asked to overtake Gasly at the end of the race.
Yeah.
And was told no, and did it anyway.
Yeah, I remember.
And I've seen a lot of criticism for sort of why Alpine would have asked Colapinto not to overtake Gasly, and is it Gasly's ego and blah, blah, blah. No, these teams underfuel for a reason, because they are at the back and they don't have to do the full race distance. And they were about to get lapped again by Max.
Yeah,
and Colapinto didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end of the race.
So they don't have to then do your extra cooldown lap.
Correct. So
also, Colapinto crashes into people
a lot.
So it would have been an expensive overtake.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
And I don't think it's a particularly good thing to do when your contract is as secure as a piece of paper blue tacked to a windy wall. You should be disobeying team orders, right?
No, exactly.
You're looking at it's either Colapinto,
especially disobeying Flavio.
Yeah, right. Who is also your manager.
It's also not the most stable
environment
boss in the world.
No. But when you're looking at Paul Aaron, who will do anything to get that seat, and Colapinto, who has the experience but won't listen to what he's told to do.
Seb on Webber is a completely different situation because Seb is
the world champion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you need to have those. You need to have those Max Verstappen moments of look at what I can do, before you say, don't ever ask me to let Perez through again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to have that moment.
Because, and on that point about fueling, it was really interesting in Bernie Collins' book.
Mm-hmm.
She talks a lot about this as a strategic point, and often teams will be overtaken, like choose to be overtaken.
Anticipate being lapped. Yeah.
On account of saving the cooldown lap.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where, I mean, no one's using that much fuel in the cooldown lap, but it's still wait.
Yeah, but if you have to do 2 fewer laps than everybody else in the Grand Prix, then you've saved yourself several litres almost of fuel at racing speed, particularly in a draggy Aston Martin or something like that, right? Where your fuel burn is probably quite high. And that's a huge amount of time saved. That might be the difference between finishing 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it is a really important point.
Yeah.
And it is considered, and it would have been considered by the Alpine team.
Alpine. Yeah.
And either Colapinto doesn't understand that, or didn't listen to that, or doesn't care.
Or he's just more worried that he might be overtaken by Gabriel Bortoleto for 17th place. Like, get over yourself. It's not
none of them are good reasons, is the point.
Particularly when Alpine are 20 points behind everybody else.
Yeah.
And seem like they won't score any more points this season.
Exactly. So it seems like a panicked, frantic, I am worthy moment.
Yes. For a man whose contract is
not, for a man that has not demonstrated he is worthy.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah. Okay. Enough rubbish.
Anyway.
Enough rubbish about the midfield. It's time for our first ever Ahead at the Apex feature. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready for the feature?
Yeah.
Have you seen what I've called the feature?
Yes.
Into the Vault.
Yeah. I like it.
Here's the idea. Every now and then, there will be something that draws our attention from the F1 world, or from the MotoGP world, or from the WEC world, that gives us an excuse to look back into the past.
Okay.
I really wanted to call this a short view back to the past. However, that is another podcast. Based on the interview question, gentlemen, a short view back to the past. That long question.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, Into the Vault is not taken. So that's okay. We can have it.
Also, it's very, very appropriate with the popularity of vaulting at the moment, either between Fortnite or Taylor Swift. So just jumping on that bandwagon.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. So do you understand the concept?
Yeah.
Something will pique our interest and we get a good look back through the... I wouldn't say we're going back all the way to like 1990s, but back in at least my memory and your memory, and probably most of the handful of people who currently listen to us is memories.
Yeah.
And relevance, I guess. So on this episode of Into the Vault, we're looking at Papaya rules, which has reared its ugly head once again in Singapore. It
also still doesn't mean anything.
It does mean something because they've clarified what it means.
Have they? Exciting.
Shall I put on my radio voice?
Yeah, do it.
Papaya rules means don't hit each other. That's it.
Oh my God. That's insightful. That's so insightful. I wonder how they worked that out. And why did they feel the need to have such a stupid name?
I have no idea why they came up with that.
Papaya rules.
Papaya rules. That's what they're willing to admit publicly. All right.
Okay, so it's don't hit each other and let Lando win.
Well, so I think it's fairly obvious McLaren are trying to over-engineer this entire season to try and remove
any feat of it being engineered.
Any unfairness.
Yeah.
They are trying to over-engineer a chaotic situation to take the chaos out of any situation. which is perhaps the most McLaren thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, absolutely. They are trying to convince everyone that it's not fixed by fixing it so it's not fixed.
Correct. That hurt.
Yeah, but it is not working.
It's not working because actually all it's doing is creating hundreds of hours of discussion about why it's rubbish.
And that's absolutely not what you want going into the end of a season.
Whether Max, Oscar, or Lando win this title, or George, who is mathematically still possible, the only thing anybody will remember from this year is Papaya rules.
Yes.
In the long term, everybody will go...
Wow. And Max Verstappen having his epic comeback.
Yeah, everybody will go, oh, well, why did Max win his 5th title? Oh, Papaya rules. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I forgot about that.
I forgot about that. So
what does that mean?
to bring it back, we haven't had a Papaya rules instance since Monza, where we have discussed what happened in Monza till we were blue in the face about them switching them around after the pit stops. But then it came up again in Singapore when Lando dived up the inside of Oscar into turn 3, almost collected Max Verstappen, also hit the curb on the inside.
He clipped Max.
He did clip Max, but to avoid clipping Max even more, he clipped Oscar.
Yeah.
They banged wheels, which we've seen before there between the two racing points. That can end with both of you in the barrier.
Yeah.
On the outside of turn 3.
And also, they did this in post-race. They did the replay, and they just looking at Piastri for the impact of that. It was a heavy impact, even though it was it was wheel to wheel, but he was still thrown.
Yeah.
It was still an aggressive slam.
And that barrier on the outside of turn 3 is one of those sort of soft form things that sucks the cars in, right? It isn't when you bounce off, it's one that you hit and then it spears your car, and then, you know, next thing you know, Oscar is mounting Lando Norris like 2021 Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Piastri clearly was not happy about the situation, so he asked his race engineer, so are we cool with Lando just barging me out the way? He continued.
Hang on, you said that with too much pizzazz in your voice. You need to be.
You can be the Oscar, and I'll be Tom Stallard.
So are we cool with Lando just barging me out the way?
And then he said,
and then it was a few laps, and he said that wasn't very team-like.
Then he said,
mate, that's not fair. It's not fair.
And then Tom says, as a team, we see Lando had to avoid Verstappen, so we won't take any action during the race. We can review further afterwards.
And then this was the big line. If he has to avoid another car by crashing into his teammate, then that's pretty shit job of avoiding.
Correct.
Which is undeniably funny.
It is undeniably funny. And we have a mutual friend who asked us this after this weekend's Grand Prix, the US Grand Prix, why, made a comment, shall we say, about how it's kind of funny that then Oscar hit Lando in Texas.
Yeah, which is super hypocritical because he said that that's super bad.
However, Oscar didn't hit Lando, he hit Nico Hülkenberg, and he didn't try to avoid a collision with Nico Hülkenberg. He actively had the collision with Nico Hülkenberg and then also hit his teammate. So that's okay. That's as far as Papaya rules are concerned. Oscar didn't hit his teammate. He was a projectile at the point at which he hit his teammate. So that's okay.
Yeah. I also think on that, if Oscar had made that move in Kota, unbelievable. Insane move.
Yeah.
So kind of respect it for the highlight reel.
And we would be saying the same thing if it was Lando.
Yeah, no, none of this one side, other side. They're both equally okay.
Yes.
It's just the order in which it happened.
Correct. Now, Oscar was clearly annoyed after Singapore because there's a couple of bits that stand out to me, and McLaren have since tried to downplay this, but Zach is giving a radio message to Oscar being like, that's it, buddy, we're double world champions, and he just radio out. And it's perfect timing. It's there's no way that was an accident. You don't, you don't do that with a voice in your ears. maybe he was pissed off. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he just didn't want to talk to Zach. I understand.
Oh, I completely get it.
I get it.
Lando! Lando!
And then this one is perhaps quite harmless because of what happened. So the Formula One, Stefano Domenicali's Formula One, the Formula One management arranged a podium celebration for McLaren in Singapore because it's quite a spectacular podium. It just so happened Lando was on the podium in Singapore. So as the McLaren team are coming up to do this thing on the podium, Lando's coming down from the podium. So they grab Lando and then they take Lando back to the podium and then they celebrate on the podium. Meanwhile, Oscar's down in the pit lane doing his media debrief stuff. And you can see Oscar doing his interviews with McLaren in the background. I don't think that was intentional.
That's Papaya rules.
But it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a team celebration. And I think it was more like,
without one member of the team.
Anyone that's there, come do it. But we're also not going to go and find everyone to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, would Zach have run into the media pen and pulled Lando out? Probably.
If Lando was leading the world championship, would he have run? Would he have been like, guys, we need to wait for Lando?
Probably. Oh, my sweet baby Lando.
Okay. So the real question isn't about any of this. It's, have Papaya rules really been fair to both drivers? And we've kind of covered it a little bit already, but just to break it down, the big ones that stand out to me is Hungary 24, which is when this really sort of reared its head, in that Lando was given the favorable strategy. Oscar was leading the race. They asked Lando to get out of the way, to let Oscar back in front. Lando took forever and a day to get out of the way, but did eventually let him back through. Then there was the Qatar, was it Qatar sprint was the same? Or was that the year before? That was the year before. That was 23. Yeah. Ignore me. Australia this year, where they were both leading the race and they come across while they're lapping traffic and say, do not attack Lando. Japan 2025, they were warned to race fairly, which meant don't attack Lando. Because Lando finished second. Canada this year, Papaya rules, quoted in reminder of them attacking each other. But Lando still hits the back of Oscar. No repercussions, by the way, to that one. Monza 2025, where Oscar gets a favorable pit stop strategy and Lando has a messy pit stop and is told to let Lando back through. But argues that perhaps pit stops are part of racing and not part of Papaya rules. And then obviously Singapore 2025, where it's Oscar questioning Papaya rules.
So I think the easiest way of doing this is, let's say Hungary 24 and Monza 25 cancel each other out. Yeah. One was a more of an intent. I think the reason that they messed up in Hungary was that they made the wrong choice in who to pit first.
Correct.
Whereas Monza was just a bad pit stop.
Yeah.
But I think, pull the detail out, it's the same consequence.
Yeah. Different seasons, one might argue, but it has.
But if
Hungary favored Oscar, where Oscar wasn't in the fight.
Yeah.
Monza favored Lando, where Lando wasn't really in the fight.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Canada was just Lando sucking, and I think he admitted to that.
He did.
He put his hands up and said, "Look, that was my bad."
He did.
Japan, fine. I think Australia was one of the first ones that really bothered me, because that's literally the first race.
Yeah.
Literally the first race.
Yeah.
You can't claim to say we have two great drivers that are going to compete and they're going to race against each other because they want to race against each other, and then go, nah, don't do that.
Yeah.
So I think that was unfair. So in this square on square, I think it has benefited Lando slightly, but I don't think it's this stark contrast. I know I made the joke earlier about Papaya rules means let Lando win, but I think it slightly favored him, but not to the extent that it's massively impacted things. I think the shortcomings of Oscar were his fault, and I think the shortcomings of Lando were his fault.
Yeah, I mean, I've left Austria off this list, right, because of the lockups when Piastri was racing, and he was told to,
basically stop.
That was over the line, buddy. I think you need to tone it back. And I've left Silverstone off this list because of Oscar's penalty, because I don't think they should ever have undone that penalty. I don't think he should have got that penalty, but I don't think they should have undone that penalty.
Yeah,
artificially. I just think that the times that Lando has been in an opportunity for Papaya rules to go against him, he's not given them a chance to use it against them. He's not been the one locking up.
Yeah.
He's not been the one who has benefited from a team thing. It's this year.
Yeah.
Whereas Oscar has, and perhaps it kind of looks that way from a us perspective, whereas internally other things are happening that we don't find out. But what's happening on track is that Oscar's getting away with a little bit of luck, and McLaren are like, "Whoa, that's too much luck, buddy. We need to dial back the luck."
Yeah, I do think the Monza was bad, and I think Oscar made that point to just say that's a slow stop.
Slow stops are part of racing.
Is it going to get to a point where they're like, they just don't release him for an extra second to go, it's Papaya rules?
Papaya rules, yeah.
No, like I think at some point you have to just accept that, okay, the team messed up there. But it's the same team that do both.
Yeah.
So you can't, unless the left wheel gunner fucking hates Lando for no reason, then
maybe the left wheel gunner is Oscar Piastri's mum.
Yeah. It was Mark Webber. But I think that was unfair.
Did you see?
Especially when Oscar's winning the championship. I think you kind of go, I think you just say, Lando, sorry, we had a bad stop. We didn't intend to do that. It just happened.
Did you see that McLaren reposted a video from the left wheel gunner's Instagram to sort of celebrate him after all the shit he's been getting lately? So like, it was like a home video that he'd put up of like, my weekends look like this, and it's him doing the wheel gun. But my weekdays look like this, and he's renovating a house. And McLaren were like, we're so proud of our team members. And I was like, this is the guy who's literally caused you the biggest headache.
So many issues. What the hell?
What are you doing? Like, don't point us at his Instagram account. That's not cool. Right. So, Papaya rules, we think, have slightly favored Lando, but we don't think that's intentional.
No. I don't think it's been this. Lando needs to win.
No. But the way out of this hole, the way out of the Papaya rules hole that McLaren have dug for themselves is team orders.
Yeah.
Is actual team orders now. Yeah. It has to be. The question is, are they willing to do it? And as part of Into the Archive, what I have done...
Into the vault.
Fuck. What I've done is I've gone through some of the most recent and most prominent team order situations. And what I'd like people to do when we publish this on our Instagram story, and when feel free to DM us, is kind of give us their, I don't want to say favorite. I want to say most controversial. Let's go with that. Most controversial team order from this list. So we're going to start with Mercedes, then move to Red Bull, then we're going to move to Ferrari. Okay? These are the most controversial ones I could find from the last 20 years. So, Mercedes have got two. First one is Bottas Hamilton. So this is the origin of the joke, Valtteri, it's James. And we're going all the way back to Russia 2018, when Lewis was in a straight fight for his, I want to say fifth. Is fifth the right one? Yes.
2018, yes. Because he had two more after
it was first to five between him and Vettel. Russia towards the end of the season, things were getting a bit tight. Mercedes 1-2 on the grid, Vettel in third. Vettel was quick, but Valtteri took the lead and kept ahead of Lewis, and they pitted him first, which they left Lewis out. Vettel jumped Lewis. Lewis got back through. So Hamilton had a quick Vettel and Raikkonen behind. Mercedes had Bottas, then Hamilton.
And is on fresher tyres.
And just about on fresher tyres. So Mercedes say, well, actually, James Vowles, Dishy James, says,
love that man.
Valtteri, it's James.
Valtteri, it's James.
Please let Lewis past. And that's basically the first time we hear Valtteri, it's James on team radio. Hamilton won the championship anyway, and he had a bigger gap than 7 points. Was it really necessary for them to do that? That's kind of...
But at the same time,
maybe.
So
but
you
it's
can look
clear,
at.
right?
I think you can look at this in two ways. You can look at this as, okay, it wasn't necessary to do, but at the same time, it might have been necessary.
Correct.
And when you hit the end of the season, if it was necessary and you didn't do it, like this year, you end up in a bit of trouble.
Correct. So controversial in the sense that it was perhaps one of the first public instances of Mercedes implementing team orders in this
and also,
Hamilton-Bottas era.
And also it was blunt. It wasn't any code words. It wasn't any discreet under the table. We discussed this in the briefing, in the race briefing or whatever.
It was direct to the point.
Bottas, get out of the way.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I also wanted to put in there the Bottas 2021 Netherlands thing, but I didn't think that was that controversial. Anyway, second one for Mercedes, and we're going back a little bit further.
This was the big one.
Hamilton-Rosberg.
This was the big one. I remember this.
So if I were voting, and I don't want to bias anybody, this is my controversial moment of the last decade, which is the battle in Abu Dhabi. So for those who weren't watching Formula One in 2016, it was basically which Mercedes was going to win.
Yeah.
And Rosberg had been the better Mercedes that year, and he'd had the most luck.
I was at Silverstone that year.
Were you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I watched that race. It was very good. And obviously, all the British fans, there were a few moments where Lewis was defending from Rosberg and everyone just went absolutely insane. It was so cool.
It was quite... I mean, these two were friends growing up, and then it got quite heated, and then obviously Lewis won in 14 and 15. Rosberg was on a good run at the end of 15, carried it into 16, and just the momentum was with him. Lewis had a few unlucky moments. The two obviously come together a lot in that year.
Spain.
Spain and Austria. But it all comes down to the last race, where Lewis needs to win, and Nico needs to be fourth or lower for Lewis to win the championship. If Nico is on the podium and Lewis wins,
doesn't matter.
If Nico beats Lewis, doesn't matter, it's over. Rosberg wins. So Lewis is leading the race and Rosberg is in second. He was behind Verstappen for a little bit, but he did get through, which he describes as one of the most terrifying things he ever had to do to win a title, was overtake 18-year-old Max Verstappen in a Red Bull, which is quite telling. So the Mercs are running 1-2.
He was always scared of Verstappen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were, though.
Especially at that point.
Yeah, on lap 32, Mercedes said to Lewis, "Just wondering why you're so slow. Currently unsafe to Vettel, who was in fourth." Hamilton continued slow, backing Rosberg into Vettel and Verstappen. Paddy Lowe continues to say, "Lewis, we are unsafe to Vettel." And Lewis's response, which is just like ingrained into me, is always like, "Right now, Paddy, I am losing the title. I am safe." Yeah. And then just like shuts up, just shuts the radio. Lewis spent a good 30 odd laps essentially slowing down so that Rosberg was always under threat from Vettel and Verstappen. And I think they even missed out an expected pit stop because the pace was that slow that Max and Seb behind were able to pit and still catch them back up.
Oof.
So, I want to rewatch that one again. This isn't really controversial in a team kind of way of like saying, get out of the way. But this is an instruction from the team to Lewis to say, "Oi, pick up the pace."
Yeah, which he then just ignored.
The team result now is more important than you, even though this is the last race and they've already won the title. And this is Lewis. The controversiality comes in that Lewis says no.
And well, on a similar vein, you've then got the Vettel-Weber one.
Correct.
Which, woof, that was my this is one of the first ones I really remember of wow, oh crap moment. I remember having a few arguments in my family went on between uncles and grandparents, and it was all quite funny. But this is when we were still in this coded world of team orders.
Yes.
So Red Bull had this multi 2-1 instruction.
Yep.
Which was a polite way of saying
we finish Webber ahead of Vettel,
basically, and which in of itself is quite telling because it was 2-1, not 1-2. So
yes,
we already knew who the second driver.
Well, to be fair, that's because they didn't have personalized numbers then. So Webber was car 2.
Yeah. No, yeah. I didn't mean it in sort of, but yeah, at the same time, you can pull the assumption.
Yes.
So they didn't like each other, and they never really liked each other. I think Vettel was obviously young and very good. Webber was someone that thought he should have been more successful than he was.
Webber was a BMW purchase to Red Bull to bring that team up and through. Vettel was the first academy driver to come through the ranks.
Yeah.
So both felt entitled to that team.
Yeah. So Vettel's on pole. Webber ends up leading the race. And there was a relatively comfortable margin to the Mercedes behind them. And dying stages, Red Bull say multi 2-1, basically saying, do not, Papaya rules, do not attack.
Bring it home, boys.
Yes. Vettel then ignores this order and they battle lap after lap after lap.
Oh, so good. I love watching that battle. It's so good.
Because they're both... You can just picture
it's equal machinery, right?
Teeth are just grinding in both helmets. And 13 laps before the end, Vettel overtakes, and basically he wins the championship that year anyway. Same story as to the Lewis.
Well, he won 9 Grand Prix on the bounce, right?
Yeah,
this season.
But nonetheless, I think Webber was always very upset at Red Bull, which I always think was misplaced anger because
they tried.
What else could they have done except just turning Vettel's engine off and on really quickly? Like, what did he want them to do?
Yeah. I mean, it was the whole Webber sitting down in the chair, multi-21, Seb, multi-21 kind of.
Yeah. It was like,
and then like looking at him and Vettel's just like, and?
Because the thing that, in a way, if he just with chest was like, I don't care. I am better than you.
Yeah.
This is my championship. Kind of, I mean, a bit brutal, a bit rude, a bit upfront, but nonetheless, you can understand that. And that's what he was thinking in his head.
Yeah.
What actually happened was on the radio, while he was refusing this order, he was sort of whining about some random crap. And he was like, no, I can't because I'm scared about the Mercedes, like stuff that was not necessarily valid. He was just there going, no, I literally have to overtake him. Yeah, you don't understand. I can't do that because I have to overtake him. And it was completely not true.
No.
Completely not true.
I mean, this even perpetuated into like the reason Marc left Red Bull. I mean, he went on Top Gear and a bunch of things, and they were like, "Is this the reason you've left Red Bull?" And he basically, without saying yes, said yes. And like, this was a big controversial moment for Red Bull. I think this is sort of the downfall of that empire of Red Bull in the early 2010s. Well, it wasn't the only chaos in the early 2010s because the whole reason we had these coded messages is Ferrari's fault.
Yeah, Ferrari always have plan A, plan B.
And Fernando is faster than you.
Fernando is faster than you. Can you confirm that you understood that message?
Let me take you back to 2010 when Stefano Domenicali is in charge of Ferrari and Andrea Stella is Fernando's race engineer. This is the most beautiful, that radio message. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
I do love him. He's great.
So Massa is in the lead of the 2010 German Grand Prix, but Alonso is much faster than he is behind. And it's pretty much a straight fight between Alonso and Vettel for the 2010 championship, right? Team orders were banned. So to ensure Massa made it easy for Alonso to overtake, Rob Smedley comes across and says, he's a Yorkshireman, isn't he, Rob Smedley? So it's like, Fernando is faster than you.
Than you. Can you confirm
you've understood that message? Because it was such a weird message, they played it on the live feed. It's like, I know the FIA are monitoring the radio messages, but there's no need to play it out on the world feed for everybody to be embarrassed about.
And it's important to note that team orders like this were explicitly banned.
Yes,
there's
correct.
a rule in the book that says you cannot influence your drivers within a race by issuing instructions.
Now, you can talk about it before the race. You can make a plan before the weekend. If this is happening, we can do this, but we can't directly change the outcome of a race once it's started.
Yeah.
And clearly, Ferrari were trying to change the outcome of a race. So there's your controversial side. The team were very nearly excluded from the race, which I think is quite interesting.
And would have been quite I think in the case that they were, it might have been, crazy take. If Ferrari get excluded from the 2010 German Grand Prix, Papaya rules never exist.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Chew on that one.
Sure. I'm going to be thinking about that all day. Just to clarify, excluded from the race means nobody else's points change, but Ferrari don't score any points.
Yeah.
So they finish 1-2, they don't score any points. None of the drivers score any points. But the person who finished third doesn't get 25 points. They get the third place.
Yeah, hence it's an exclusion rather than a disqualification.
Correct. A disqualification would shift everybody up, but an exclusion wouldn't. Let us know if you think that was... Fernando is faster than you.
Faster than you.
Really going back into the vault. So this is maybe before you were even born, Timmy.
Yes, it was 2002.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was 8. Anyway.
Oh, you're so old.
Anyway, another Ferrari. Let's finish it off with Ferrari. And perhaps one of their more publicly controversial incidents, because I think it was completely unnecessary. So we're going all the way back to 2002 to the Austrian Grand Prix, where Barrichello is on pole, Schumacher's in third, but made it second by the end of lap 1. 10 laps to go. After a bunch of retirements, a bunch of engine failures, a couple of safety cars, Barrichello is leading Schumacher. They've both made their final pit stops. It looks like Barrichello is going to take the win. Before the race, Barrichello was informed to let his teammate through to win the race, to secure the title, to take the pressure off, to have a dominant season, because they were very much the dominant force in 2002. But Rubens radioed back to Jean Todt, who was the head at Ferrari at the time, and said, "Last year you made me a promise that I wouldn't relinquish the lead to a faster driver." Todd replied, "Obey the instruction. It's for the team's best interest." And according to Rubens, though never broadcast officially and never released, Ferrari made a bunch of threats that would have ended his racing career, which is pretty much what he had to live for and what he enjoyed. And as they round the final corner, Barrichello brakes early. Schumacher also brakes because he's like, what the hell's going on? Because according to Schumacher, he was never informed that this radio exchange was going on, and he didn't want team orders to be used because they were so much quicker than everybody else that they could have won it anyway, but Ferrari wanted to engineer it that way. Again, speculation. But Schumacher did win the race. On the podium, they do the German national anthem for Schumacher, and then Schumacher steps down and stands on the second spot for the Italian national anthem, and then pushes Rubens onto the first place after he's accepted the trophy, gives him the trophy. So Michael made it clear that
he didn't like it
like that. At the end of the season, and the reason it's made this list is because of the point system in 2002, Michael finished the season with 144 points, Barrichello 77 in second place.
Yeah.
There was no need. It was 2 points. There was no need for Ferrari to do this. Let us know what you think. DM us, or we'll probably put up a poll. We'll maybe try and get some clips for the Instagram story, something like that. Sound good, Tim?
Sound good.
Okay, our last thing, and I've titled this Fantastic Five. Can you guess what we're going to talk about?
I think this may be one of, in the case that it goes through, one of the greatest results in F1 history.
That's a long history. Are you sure you want to make that claim?
I think so. And I think independently of, I think everyone would agree with that except McLaren fans. And I think McLaren fans, I would urge you to just remove yourself from your Papaya preferences and just acknowledge that in not the best car, in the last 4 races, he's cut 60 points out of the championship lead.
You're absolutely right. So Oscar Piastri wins in Zandvoort and the gap is 104 points.
Yeah. I mean, that's insane. That is insane. Fine, they had their upgrade in Monza, but I think you can't say that the upgrade has taken them to be the Red Bull to be comfortably better than the McLaren.
And an upgrade coming.
Really?
For Red Bull.
Really?
Yeah, so actually, I wrote this sheet and I was like, right, Max won in Italy and that takes him to 94, and he won in Baku, that takes him to 69, lol. And then second at Singapore, which takes him to 63, sprint victory takes him to 55, win in Texas takes him to 40, blah. And then I was going to go on a big conversation, but I heard this news about the upgrade that Red Bull are bringing, and I had to find out why that they're still bringing upgrades, because McLaren have stopped. McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari.
Yeah, no one.
They've all stopped. Red Bull have not stopped. And I found that really interesting.
Red Bull have always been a driver team, though.
Right. But that's not why they've not stopped.
Really?
Either. Yes. Here's why they've not stopped. There is no point developing a car for next year's regulation change if you are not confident that you can upgrade the current car you have and translate theoretical data into real data.
Okay.
Red Bull made it so far down the wrong path, like Mercedes did with the zero side pod thing, that they could no longer trust what they were seeing back at the factory would translate to on-track performance.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So they've sacrificed time and money for next year's car to make sure that that is correct.
Interesting. That's very, very interesting.
Yes. That tells me teams like Alpine, who haven't touched this year's car at all, are fucked. Because how can you believe? How can you believe what you're doing is the right thing to do if you can't even show it during a season? And I'm confident for Aston Martin, who have shown they can develop a car this year, and I'm confident for Mercedes, and I'm confident for Red Bull, who have all shown that they can develop a car this year. McLaren, maybe not. Ferrari, definitely not. Next year. I just don't see it at the start of the year.
Nope, I agree.
Because how can you trust? And I thought this was so interesting. That really got me thinking of like, I need to reevaluate how I look at teams and how they're going to progress.
Here's a question. Who do you think that this is a Mekis masterclass?
Yes.
Would this have happened under Horner?
No.
I agree.
Absolutely not.
I agree.
And what that essentially tells me is Red Bull have looked at it and gone, it does not matter if the first 5 races of next season somebody else wins, because there are 19 more races.
And look at this year.
Yeah.
Wow. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, right.
Very, very interesting.
Right.
And I think it will be, and obviously I think when you combine that with, okay, it helps Max and the drivers, suddenly it becomes a no-brainer, actually.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
So Red Bull have still got more upgrades to bring to this car.
Max is also
great in Mexico.
Oh, he's great in Mexico. He's great in Vegas. He's
Brazil.
Pretty good in Brazil. He's great in Abu Dhabi.
He's not that good in Abu Dhabi.
Really?
Lewis was miles ahead in 2021.
He was actually. He was.
Don't kid yourself.
Big safety car.
Yeah. Yeah. 40 points in 5 races. He needs to outscore Oscar by 8 points and Lando by 3 every race.
He is the bookie's favorite now.
He is the bookie's favorite. If Max takes his 5th, he equals Schumacher for the most consecutive championships, beating Lewis and everybody else. It's just him and Schumacher.
Yeah.
He would equal Fangio on total number of championships, taking him to 2nd, behind obviously Lewis and Michael.
Hang on though, because Fangio's seasons were, I think all of Fangio's championships were probably the length of one F1 season nowadays.
Yeah, there were 6 races per season. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 30 to 25 races, 24
Correct.
races.
Yeah, and that's, look, we've said on this podcast
I know. You can't compare.
Records now are arguably more valuable than records then, apart from number of victories in a season.
Yeah.
Because if you have that dominant car, like, you know.
Yeah, you need to do it by percentage.
Max's percentage win in 2023, phenomenal. But winning 23 or however 22 races or whatever he did that year, that's a little bit different. He had the dominant car. It made it easy it's easier to be on good form, but winning a total percentage, much, the sheer the number means nothing. The percentage means more.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not the only thing he's done this year. He's moved ahead as the most successful qualifier in Red Bull history.
Yeah.
47 poles. He's also surpassed Vettel for the number of laps led at Red Bull.
Which again,
there's more
longer
races
seasons,
now,
but that's fine.
Yeah.
But he is trumping him in wins.
Yes.
Trumping.
This is wins at Red Bull.
Yeah. So he's 68 to Vettel's 38. 35 fastest laps of those 68 wins. 24 for Vettel. 47 poles to 44. So actually, that's the interesting thing is Vettel's pole to win rate was negative. As in, he poled more than he won. He won.
Yes.
Whereas Max has won more than he's poled.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
But, I mean, Vettel had a very dominant 4 years with a mildly successful first year in 2009. Max has had a very dominant 4 years with a mildly successful year at the end. So these are kind of comparable.
Yeah, but yeah.
But you're right.
But Max was also competitive ahead
Max has won a lot more races against Lewis and Mercedes in his early years at Red Bull.
Yeah.
When they weren't getting on pole because they were knocking 7 bells out of each other in Spa, Austria, and Spain.
Exactly.
Yes, both have 4 titles. But yes, Vettel's 108 races to Max's 205. So
Yeah. So when you think about that, again, if you want to go into percentages, he was basically almost at...
Vettel's
he was just under 50% pole rate.
But Vettel's got a higher win percentage.
Yes.
Even though there's more wins for Max.
Just.
Yeah, because Max is just under double.
Yeah.
The number of...
Both.
Yeah.
So who's going to win?
Max.
I think
I wrote that as like a hanging question of like, we can talk about it for ages.
I think so.
But it's just, we both agree it's going to be Max. And I can't see any other outcome.
And it's really interesting because I think if coming out of the last few years, if you were to tell me or anyone that any non-Max Verstappen fan, that they would actively be supporting him to win,
yeah,
I wouldn't have believed you. But here we are, because I think what he's done is so impressive. I think the way that Red Bull have rebuilt themselves after Horner leaving at the summer break is so impressive. And it feels like now they're operating like they were operating in 23.
Correct.
And I think when you compare that to McLaren with these super disorganized, at times what feels to be disrespectful decisions on behalf of both drivers, you kind of go, I don't really want you guys to win.
No.
Because it feels like you've just completely stuffed yourself. And I remember when Mercedes were crushing it at the end of the Turbo Hybrid 2018, there was a lot of people that were saying, are Red Bull or is anyone else ready to fight for a championship? And I remember thinking at the time, what does that mean? Surely if you have the best car, you're ready to fight for the championship because you have the best car and the car is fastest. But actually what McLaren have demonstrated this year is you can have the best car, you can have one of the best team principals.
You can have some pretty good drivers.
You can have some great drivers, but actually they're not ready to win the championship.
They're not ready.
And that's why they're in this position that they might lose it because they're not cohesive, they're not decisive, and the team ultimately is not pointing in a direction where it's clear to either party who's going to win. From a driver's point of view, constructors, you can get away with fastest car. Yeah. That's fine. But
statistically, now you're very likely to win the constructors if you build the fastest car.
Yes. But when it comes to the drivers' championships, which ultimately is what is the championship.
Nobody remembers who won the constructors' championship.
Yeah, Mercedes had an amazing 2021 championship win. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I finally now really understand what people meant at that time when they said ready to win a championship.
Yeah.
And I don't think McLaren are. And and the fact that Red Bull have returned to that form, to me, is hard to say no.
Yeah. But then, I mean, Red Bull have been in this position, right? I mean, we talked about 2009 briefly there when we were comparing Vettel. Vettel was ready. The car was ready.
Yeah.
But the team were not ready.
No, exactly.
And Braun got ahead of them. And you know, Vettel could be a 5-time world champion.
And it took them halfway through the year
before they were
to lock
in
in
a position.
But by that point, Button's
advantage
lead
was too much.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So the other thing is, and to continue on to that point, in the case that, let's say, I'm just saying this because Oscar's ahead and Lando's 50 points behind. They still win the constructors. Same story, but bigger gap. Again, I'm not saying that because I'm saying that because Oscar is currently ahead. None of the Lando fans start crying, please.
Yeah.
There is a situation where, you know, Senna, Prost, team orders, Lando Norris, just do not turn at the first corner. Just drive straight into Max. But because they're so close with this 14 points now, 14-point difference between the two.
Well, there's a Sergio Perez Abu Dhabi 2021. Back Lewis up, please.
Yeah.
I watched recently the one where...
But they're too close in order to actually commit to one person doing that. And for some reason, I think if it did come down to it, they would ask Oscar over Sweet Baby Lando.
I think you're right. I did watch recently Mexico 2021 where Bottas pits about 5 times to try and go for fastest lap. And he ends up like 4 laps behind or something. There is not a situation at McLaren where they're going to do that.
No, exactly. Yeah. In a way that they're too close and in not making the decisions, this is what we said, in not making the decisions when they weren't necessary to make.
Yeah.
You get to a point now where they are necessary to make.
Yes.
But people are not ready.
But people are not willing
they don't
to make
have the
those
toolbox.
decisions.
They don't have the options.
No. If they decided 7 races ago, right, Oscar is clear. We need to put our efforts behind Oscar. We'll make sure that Lando gets second. You arrive at Mexico where perhaps Oscar can win the world championship. Max is mathematically only going to attempt to get second. And now you can use Oscar to help Lando secure second.
Yeah, yeah.
But now we're arriving in Mexico wondering whether or not either McLaren is going to even finish on the podium and how much Max is going to gain.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be Max.
I think it will be Max too.
But we'll see.
We shall. Right, we're going to end it there. We've been going for just over an hour and 20, and obviously Tim was late, so it's nearly the end of our slot.
Whoops.
Please get involved on Instagram and message us and ask us any questions. We're happy to sort of tackle those as well. We'd kind of like some engagement, I think.
Yeah, we would.
To see if we can get some...
Posts are due.
Yeah, we don't... Yeah.
They're due.
We don't mean, oh, please like everything we put on Instagram, but please get in touch with us, because that'd be cool if people start getting in touch with us. So it's
a two-way street, right?
Apex. It's a two-way street. Absolutely. Leave us a review on Spotify. I hear you can do that these days.
Can you?
I'm not a Spotify person, but I hear you can.
Neither am I. But I will paddle my... I will force all my Spotify
We
friends.
are coming to Apple Music once Apple decide to let us on Apple Music.
Yeah. Maybe if it AAT Apex 2.
But until then, we will see you next time.
Peace.